2, 1.
This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I just go home. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alrighty then. My girlfriend said, please come and get me. I knock on the door, she's there to greet me. Happy, she's got a reputation. When I try to get some, there's hesitation. This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I just go on. They played my band on the local station. The DJ said, sorry, no request, son. Trying to sell my record in the neighborhood store. Gave them back, so it wasn't no more. Can you believe this? This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I'll just go on. Happens every day.
Hey, Bob!
This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I just go on. Come on! This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yeah! Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I just go on. Come on! This day happens every day, and now I stand alone. Yeah! Yesterday was in the past, I pray, and now I just go on.
Dad, say cheese, come on.
Can you give me my phone, hon?
Dad, do it. Do it, Dad. Come on, Dad. Dad, do it. Do it. Come on, Dave.
You're always great for that, Helen.
Dad, say cheese.
We're very grateful for the bond that we share, the unity that we have, and for the faith that we share together. Just our family dynamic has just been awesome. And we lived on a boat for many years, and then from the boat we moved to land, and then after land and being in LA and then moving to Vegas for a couple years, God called us out to Boston. And I think one of the special moments for me was being able to utilize my first time in the ministry to serve at my dad's service in him passing away, and being able to minister at that service as well was pretty special to myself and pretty powerful. There's no question while being here, it was awesome because it allowed me to spend the last couple years with my dad, and it was just great because I don't know what I would have done had I not been able to spend his last moments with him. And it was just beautiful to be able to do that, be able to make that bond tight, spend some of that time together, and just to watch him in his last months of his life be able to come to peace, with everybody and through all the drama and the chaos, and then give his life to God was just awesome. And a lot of times I think you go through your days and you question, who you are, what you are, why you're here. And there's many moments that remind you, why God placed you here or for what purpose. There was a time when I got ordained, and that was last fall. And this is the first funeral I'm presiding over. And it just so happens to be my dad. Though I couldn't be more proud than for this to be the first.
I traveled 3,000 miles for this affair that I thought would never happen because of my son. Congratulations. I never thought that my son was the marrying kind, and he shocked the goddamn shit out of me. I'm just saying, in all honesty, I have to say it. I'm an Italian, so I have to say it the way I feel it. I didn't mean anything rude by it. As a matter of fact, you want a boogie a little boogie a little. All right. I'm not much of a speech maker. This is only the second speech I made. The last one was when my twins graduated from high school. God bless them. I really don't know what to say, but I can only say from my heart, I'm so happy. I never felt like this in my life, outside of when my grandchildren were born. Congratulations. I love you both. And I hope you make it big because I need the money. Thank you.
My father was definitely a very interesting guy.
Wolfman Jack, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna play Bobby Darin from the 60s. Really, here we go, splish splash, I'm taking a bet.
A lot of the character in the Boston Dad is definitely a lot of my dad. There's no question about it. The angst, the passion, the volume.
Stop hopping on me, I don't hop on you.
I'm not hopping on you. What
You
if I
and
say
George get in
hop on
arguments,
you?
I walk out.
Unbelievable. Don't make me switch to Starbucks. Don't make me do it.
Hey, I can't even enjoy 5 minutes with a cup of coffee. Honest to God, you must be a woman driver. What a shock.
One of the things that stands out to me a lot when I think of my dad is one of the movies I wrote called 30 Minutes to Salvation. My nephew had come to see it at the theater, and he had listened to me talk and share my testimony about how a lot of the material that I wrote in there between the father and the son in that movie was based on myself and my dad and a real life experience he had had, meaning my dad, when his dad had left him when he was very young, and then his dad reached back out to him years later, and then my dad, still upset about his dad leaving him and his family, refused to see his father, and he died or passed shortly thereafter. And he didn't say necessarily to me that he ever regretted that. However, because he had taken on various vices through his life, and I could tell was really working hard to numb a lot of the pain he had, I could only imagine inside what could have been or what would have been had he made peace with his own father, and what that could have done to bring peace into his heart and into his life. And that definitely reflected a lot of the scene that I wrote for the movie 30 Minutes of Salvation, of one of the scenes I wrote for that movie.
So your life is my fault?
No, Dad. I'm old enough to know better now. So at this point, the mistakes I make are my fault. It could have been different, Dad. It's not too late, though.
Where's all this coming from, David? What do you want me to say? It wasn't my fault.
Huh? Are you gonna say fault again? At what point do you plan to take responsibility for yourself, huh? I suppose you plan to go to your grave blaming your father for your transgressions? Huh? For leaving you? Come on, Dad. How long are we gonna ride this roller coaster, huh? Can't we just end it now and start new?
Too much has happened. It's too late.
We're not dead yet, Dad.
You're right. You're right. My father left me when I was 12 years old. I didn't hear from him for 15 years. Then his wife calls me when he's on his deathbed, saying he wants to see me.
What did you say?
What do you think I said? I told him to go to hell. Maybe had I said yes, I wouldn't be as bitter as I am today. But once you got to the age of 12, I didn't know how to be a father to you because that's how old I was when my father left me. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry I wasn't there for you as a father.
It's okay.
It's not okay. It's not okay what he did to me. It broke me. How could I do that to you?
You didn't leave.
I might as well have. I wasn't there.
You are now. You are now.
I got to spend my last moments with my grandfather, my last seconds with him, my last times. The day he passed, it was a devastating day. He always loved to he loved everybody, you know. He loved to dance, and then it just came to a point where he couldn't take it. I loved him. He was an awesome grandfather. And then when we came to the funeral, I was devastated. I'm sitting there watching the video, and I just started tearing up. It was a very emotional day for me. He loved me.
One of the fondest memories I've shared with my dad that set up amazing closure was when I was moved to minister and preach a sermon to the family in our yard in New England back in the summer of 2008. And I remember in ministering this sermon, I remember my dad being so amazingly attentive during the sermon, which probably went on for close to an hour. And with that, and in that sermon, I remember at the end, I was really moved to call the family to peace. A couple of the members of the family hadn't been talking for a couple weeks and had reconciled, and it was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I just remember my dad, again, just really just staring at me during the whole sermon, and he was in deep thought, and my wife had caught a particular picture of him in this deep thought, and it was just amazing. So when I had left New England, about a week or two later, my dad had really cornered myself and my sister in the car on the way to the airport, or one of my sisters, and said, you know, I haven't been able to get that sermon that you ministered out of my head for 2 weeks. I've barely slept. I haven't been able to sleep. And I just wanted to say, I had no idea that there were so many things that you had gone through and that had happened in your life when it came to me, that it hurt you so deeply. And I just wanted to say, I am so sorry. He broke down crying. I cried. My sister cried. And I just remember putting my hand on his head. He had a beautiful head of hair. One of the things I've received from him. And I just remember stroking his hair and just saying, it's okay, Dad. It's okay. That's what God's grace is all about. We're all human. And, you know, that did happen a few years before he passed on. And that closure has brought me to so much and brought me so much peace in my life. Had I not had that, I might have held on to the same anger and turmoil that I felt he did for so many years before he gave his heart to God a couple years before he passed, and he came to a true peace in his heart and in his life, which I'm so happy he did. So that was beautiful. Come on, do it for Heavenly Donuts. Come on, get up, Dad, get up. I can't get up.
Come on.
Get up.
Let's go.
You can get up. Okay, amen.
Who has the animosity towards that?
Come here. Want you too.
It has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me, Dad. Amen. Amen.
All right.
Oh, beautiful.
There's no real repentance for the things that we do. There's no way to tell when this life is through. A soul's general purpose is to search and destroy. A man up for murder was once a young boy. Though he'll try, yes he'll try to forgive all the world for the trash that they say. To forgive all the world for he chose it that way. I'm a man in a movie who likes to be tough. One day they'll all know, they'll know it's a bluff. An escape from the truth is inside your life. Just like the virgin who has sex then she cries. So she'll try, yes she'll try to forgive all the world for the trash that they say. To forgive all the world, for she chose it that way. To forgive all the world and believe that there's God. To forgive all the world so life can move on.
You guys are way off, kid.
Alright, blow him out.
Smash it in his face! What's wrong with her?
I don't know.
Yay!
Make a wish. Yeah.
Where's your nuts?
Okay, made a wish.
Yeah, excuse me.
Okay, let's slice the dice.
Alright, stop.
So in close, if you have a family member that you've been harboring feelings towards, or that you have hard feelings towards, or something has happened and you're alive and they're alive and you have not reached out yet, or you have not come to a place where you have tried to make peace, I encourage you to be the one to stand up, to take the leadership position and say something today, to feel comfortable with that confrontation and making that peace. Because once you come to that peace, you will at that point be able to feel free. You'll feel a freedom that it is unlike any other feeling out there. It will allow you to just feel so much lighter than you have, and you don't know what could be happening here, or especially to your soul or to your spirit by holding on or to harboring any kind of envy or hate or any kind of bitterness. It's best to just let it go, especially if that person is still alive. The last thing you want to see happen is something happen to them before you've had the opportunity to make peace. And if that person has passed, then make peace with yourself, because they've transitioned and come to a place where they can now understand peace, and you've got to now forgive yourself and come to that peace as well. Okay, I think that's
it?
Yeah, that's everything.
Oh, good.
Okay, cool, thank you.
I like the peace out stuff.
No, I didn't.
All right.
Bye, Dad. Love you. Thanks.